Hi guys, how are you? I'm Robin. Welcome back or welcome to my YouTube channel. This little world right here is man for himself. If you like men's hair product reviews, grooming, skincare, fragrance, and videos like this, then this channel is for you. Please do press subscribe right now. Okay, today is nothing about me and all about a special guest. Now, I've got a guy called Phil Amato. Phil got in touch with me on Instagram and sent me some pictures of his hair transplant. And I've got to say, I was amazed and fascinated. Now, Phil lives in South London, so not too far from me. He's an actor, he's 40, and he's had a really great experience. But I thought hair transplants are something which I want to know more about, and I know that so many of you guys will too. So I thought let's just get someone on and have loads of questions, a very open and honest conversation about what worked, what maybe didn't work, any sort of side effects, any pain, and yeah, just kind of get down to it. So here you go. Here's Phil. Phil, thanks very much for joining me.
Hey,
How are you?
yeah, cool. I'm very well, thank you. Good to be chatting to you. Fantastic.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. You're just you're just down the road, really, South London.
Yeah, South London, absolutely. Yeah, not too far from you.
But linking up on the channel virtually. You got in touch with me last week and kind of said
I did,
about
yeah.
the success that you'd had with your hair transplant and sent some pictures, which I've got and I'll put up. And I really wanted to get you on and kind of have a first-hand account of what it's like to have a hair transplant for anyone who's maybe watching this and thinking it's something I'd like, and kind of, what's been good about it, what's maybe been not so good, and just kind of what the process was. So you're 40, you've just celebrated your 40th.
Yeah, I have, yeah. Good old
Happy
40,
belated
yeah.
birthday, yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And looking like you've got a full head of hair.
Yeah, I mean, for you guys today, I've kind of swept it back so you can kind of see what I've had done. I had my hair transplant at the front, just around here. Everywhere else is relatively quite thick.
Because now, if someone was looking at you, you would think you've got a really strong hairline, your hair looks thick, it looks full, there's no sort of receding on those, especially on those temple points, which is where you sort of had it. So, talk me through the process. How long ago did you kind of first notice any thinning, and was it on the temples and the crown?
My crown was always relatively thick. I'll start with the crown, but then I thought, you know what, I'm going to start using Minoxidil. So I started using that on my crown. The Rogaine was kind of just thickening up my overall appearance of my hair. But then I still noticed at the front temples, maybe my late 20s to early 30s, I really started to kind of
Get the strips.
Notice, but everywhere else was kind of staying, and I put that down to maybe Rogaine. I can't be certain. And then about 3 years ago, I got this opportunity at Rejuvenate Hair Clinic in London, but just to kind of put in my receded parts there, and I did it, and for me, it was one of the best decisions I made. I was never, completely insecure about it for sure. But I am a bit vain, like a lot of us men, and I decided to go ahead and do it, and I'm happy that I did.
Sort of going back to kind of what you tried first, because I know for a lot of people, maybe a hair transplant might be a sort of last resort. When you tried the Minoxidil, you saw that it was boosting what you had, but it maybe wasn't taking back the hair that you'd lost, or
my crown, it really thickened up, Robin, really thickened up to the point that maybe a year later that I kind of looked at my crown and was like, wow, that you can't notice anything. But I mean, I must stress, I was never completely gone in my crown. It was maybe thinning somewhat. I wasn't for me, I didn't want to take Propecia. I'm not, it wasn't for me. I'm not saying you shouldn't take it, but just for me personally, it wasn't for me. So I kind of, it was Rogaine, a strong biotin, a strong multivit, and good health care for my scalp.
Yes. And so from there to going into the clinic, you had a consultation with them. Did they, how does that work? So you would go in somewhere and they take a look at what you have, How did they discuss it with you?
Well, I went in and saw Andrew and his team, who are fantastic. They're really good guys. And I went to Harley Street to see them. And when you first go in, excuse me, it's a bit worrying because I'd never been in that environment before. So you go in and you think, is it going to be a bit salesy? Are they going to try and sell me, something crazy? But they were fantastic. I went in and he looked at kind of my front parts of my forehead where I'm receding. And he kind of told me what I would need. He said you'd most probably need about 1,000 grafts. I don't know what that is in hairs. I think it's maybe a bit more, because in a graft you can get 4 hairs. He told me what I would need, so they kind of did the kind of outline and it showed me, reassured me, told me about the procedure. The thing that I loved more than anything, there wasn't no kind of you're going to have hair like Brad Pitt. You're going to come to our clinic and you're going to have this full kind of look like Brad Pitt, and you're going to leave and you're going to have this kind of full pompadour and it's going to be amazing. They were kind of realistic. They said, this is what we're hoping to get, and this is what it would look like. And so that was it, and I was sold.
So from the time of the consultation to booking in, what was the sort of gap? Did you have to wait on a waiting list, or was it fairly quick, or?
It was, I think it was near this November, December time, and then I went and had it done. I think it was the beginning of February.
Right, okay.
Following
quite quick, really, yeah.
Yeah, it could have been quicker as well. I think they had some slots, but I was I was busy with work, so I couldn't kind of mix it all together. And
So you go in, say, in the morning, and I mean, Harley Street, if anyone's watching, Harley Street is kind of like the place for healthcare and procedures in London, and it's quite swish, isn't it? Like it's very it's quite seductive in it. I've been in for sort of chats with various people. So you go in and you sit, and they get you set up. Like, do you have to get into a gown? Like,
go in, and I don't mind admitting this to your viewers. I was really nervous, and I'm not. I don't know. I don't know if because I'm quite nervous of needles, so I was really apprehensive. But you go in and you go in the waiting room, and then the surgeon comes in and has a chat with you. I had my first procedure was Dr. Fortis, who works for Andrew and his team, and he came in, spoke to me. Then you go into the theatre, you get in the gown, and they kind of start putting the ped on where it's going to be, and but the great thing is, Robin, you decide with them. So when they're doing your hairline or wherever they wherever they do it, you have a big say in that. Obviously you go with the professionals, but they don't just go here right, this is what we're going to do. So they did that, and I remember I was so nervous. I was like, oh no, this is it, I'm really having this done. So you then lie down, face down, and then they start doing the local anaesthetic, which I'm going to be honest with you, Robin. If people say it doesn't, it does hurt a bit, and I can't lie to your viewers and go, oh, there's no pain at all, because then I would be a liar.
So you're face down on this table, and you've not had to shave your head or anything, have you?
They shave your hair first at the back.
Right.
They take your hair at the back first. So
that's for that extraction. So it's to take that bit of hair from where it's kind of healthy and full on the back of the neck to move it to where they want to have it.
The FUE procedure, which I should have said. So it's the FUE, and they shave the back. Now, normally they would kind of sometimes shave all your hair, but I did. This is a great thing about Rejuvenate. I was like, guys, can you maybe undercut it from the back? So I could kind of still have some hair to hide.
To hide it,
So they shaved it, and then, so that was amazing, because I thought, oh, I'm going to be able to still like hide the procedure. Not that I weren't going to tell people, but just when I'm out. So they did that, and then, beg your pardon, then you lie down and they put the local anaesthetic in. Then they start taking the kind of grafts out of the back, which is I had the FUE, not the strip. So they call them planters. So the planters who work with the hair surgeons, they both combine it. They have their nurses that have worked with them for many years.
Yeah.
And then they start taking them out, dissecting them, and then you just kind of lie there while they take it out the back of your head.
Yeah. And you're feeling that, or like there's nothing, it's a bit numb? Are you seeing anything?
No, you're lying down for that part, which is a bit weird, and it's not uncomfortable, but I wouldn't say it's comfortable.
Yeah, enjoyable.
But it's not,
yeah.
So they're just taking out, and the great thing is they're talking to you the whole way through it. They're going, "Wow, okay, we've just got this follicle here as 4 hairs in," which is amazing. So you're kind of hyped up, and you're thinking, "Oh, well, that's really good."
Yeah.
And then the nurses are just there, and they're kind of dissecting, getting the good hair follicles, getting ready for the procedure where you turn over, and then they start planting them into the receding areas.
So they take from the back, and that's this sort of, I suppose, like the harvesting of the hair almost.
The
to
harvesting.
Put it into, and then they then flip you over, and it's the planting of the actual hair.
Yeah, which is exciting because then you know they're going in, and that again, you don't really feel anything because you're quite numb. And again, they're speaking, will certainly rejuvenate. They're speaking to you, telling you how the procedure's going, what they're doing. I mean, you have a little break after they've taken the hairs from the back. Like, I remember really craving a full fat Coke, and random. So because I needed sugar, but I didn't feel faint at any point. I had some nice food. Once that had happened, and I turned over, and they were kind of doing the front of my hair. I just kept having a little sleep, and then I kind of meditating while they were talking to me, and it was over before. Do you know what I mean? It was over before you kind of knew it, and then they were like, "Oh, Philip, we're all done." I was like, "Oh, okay." And bearing in mind, Robin, my procedure wasn't massive, so it was done with about 3 hours.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
A big procedure could take all day, I'm sure.
Yeah. And that sort of split of time, I would imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, that most of the time is spent on getting the hair from the back.
Absolutely. That's the most important part. It's all about, when people have hair transplants, that it's whether you've got really good donor area, like donor hair. So I'm not a fan of this term, but when people say the fry tuck look, I don't like that. But when people go, "Oh, he's got the fry tuck," as long as people have got good donor area there, you can, you will get good results. You may need a few procedures, but it's, as you said, Rob, it's all about the back.
What's the sort of aftercare like? Are you lying in a bed in a ward? Is it private? Like, are you in and out in that day?
I didn't stay, so I had the procedure, and I got a taxi home, which they provided.
That's amazing. You're literally in and out. So it's like,
you kind of, they don't just, you don't have it done and then you go. No. I kind of had it done.
Chuck you onto the street with a full head of hair.
Get out, God. I relaxed there for a bit, and then Dr. Fotis, Andrew, and the team be like, "Phil, this is now your aftercare." The aftercare is a bit tricky, Robin. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It really is tricky, and you can potentially lose some graft if you're not careful. Did I lose a graft? Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe. And that's because that area is so sensitive, or it's something you've got to do to keep it clean, or like, so what do you do in terms, when you say aftercare, what does that involve?
So they give you some saline kind of, I think that's what the solution's called, correct me if I'm, but they give you some solution to kind of, you've got to spray it on every 30 to 40 minutes.
Wow.
Which is a bit of a pain so you have to spray that on the area that you've had the hair transplant, and you have to kind of, although you've had it taken from the back, you still have to look after the back because it's the donor area. So every 40 minutes I'd be spraying very gently the solution on, trying not to knock it or touch it.
No.
That's one of the big things they said. So that was that. They said you really got to make sure, you're kind of looking after the area with the solution. They give me amoxicillin just in case I got an infection. And they also give me a tablet, and forgive me, I can't remember what it was called, but basically it's to stop the swelling of the forehead, because sometimes people have hair transplants, whether that's female or male, and then after the anaesthetic goes down, and it really puffs up your face like you've had a kind of allergic reaction, and the tablet they give me prevents that. But forgive me, Robin, sorry, I can't remember what the tablet was, but I obviously researched it before I took it, and it really did help. Did my face swell up? All your viewers are going to want to know. Yes, it did, but not massively. And I always want to be truthful. I don't, I know
exactly, and that's why you're here. Chat about actually what happens.
So did my forehead swell up? Yes, and I don't think have I got any photos? I don't know. I'll have to look. And I will send them to you. But I did. It did swell up, not to the point that I looked. It didn't look great, because I took the tablets that they gave me. But they were really. The great thing about Rejuvenate, they were really thorough with the aftercare. So much so, up to about a month after, I would have Andrew or one of his team ring me at least twice or 3 times a week. How you going? Are you okay? Let us know if you need anything. So I kind of got home that night, and I was just, doing everything they said, using the kind of solution, taking the tablets that they said, and you have to kind of sleep upright. That maybe sound really confusing to your viewers, but I kind of got this travel pillar, because I didn't want it in my sleep turn over on the kind of air and knock one of the grafts out, which sadly, Robin, I think I definitely would have lost a couple of grafts. I mean, not everyone does, but I think I did. But I think after about 7 to 8 days, the implants are permanent, so you couldn't. That's when you can cart. That's when you can start. Washing it very gently. I just used a non-scented baby shampoo, very gently. That is 7 days after I started. Then they kind of rang me and went, Phil, you can now start gently massaging. And then, if some of your viewers do get it done, they might be a bit worried when the scabs naturally start falling off. That's okay, because by the time that point, it's 7 days and they're so far implanted in.
So it is a bit like planting a plant. When you first put it in, it's loose, and then it starts to take to that soil, which is your scalp. And after 7 days, it's implanted and it's attached and it's kind of safe. From there, was it still painful? Was it tight? Did you notice any sort of was it stretched? How does it feel?
Yeah, if it does feel a bit stretched, I think that's the correct vernacular for it, because it does. Your skin feels quite stretched, and I think more so it gets in your psyche that you're like, oh, I just want to be able to touch my hair and wash it, so it does, even 7 days after, it does start feeling maybe a little bit sore, but then after that 7 days, up to maybe 2 weeks, it starts going away. It's amazing, Robin, because about 2 weeks, the donor area is almost fully back to normal. It looks like you've just had a French crop on the back. It looks amazing. So your donor area recovers really quickly. But then the areas that you've obviously had the procedure, this is the point that some of your viewers may not like. It's where the hairs that they planted start to fall out.
Right.
Now, people go, oh no, it's not worked. It has worked. The implant's in, so far in, but then the hairs just then
it's a natural shedding.
Yeah, a natural shedding phase,
Yeah, because the hair has there's 3 phases: anagen, catagen, and telogen. I'm pretty sure.
That's it.
And actually, that phase is when the hair drops out. But it means that there is a healthy follicle there that will grow another one. So, but I'm sure that must feel quite. You've gone through this whole procedure, and then to see or to feel hair that's dropped out must be a bit worrying.
My clinic would ring me up and go, look, Phil, they're going to start shedding now. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. They're going to shed, but then that new hair is going to grow through. So I kind of, when the hair was coming off with the scabs after 7 days up to 2 weeks, you start going, oh, you're back to where you started. It looks as though when you went in to have the procedure.
Yeah.
So then now, Robin, it's a whole new kind of ball game. It's the waiting game. Then it's because then at that point, after about 2 weeks, you can start using the Rogaine. You can
Yes.
use your like hair combs. You can use your products. But then
Yeah.
it looks as though you've had nothing done, other than maybe a bit of a red outline. At the 4 month mark, that's where you start going, oh, hello, I've
Yeah.
got some stubble.
Yeah. And then how do you like physically, I mean, well, mentally feel when that's sort of all happening? Because for men, and hair is your crowning glory, and to lose your
Yeah.
hair and then to have an opportunity to regrow it must feel pretty amazing. But it like, is it a bit of a roller coaster of those moments of, oh God, my hair is actually not growing, or like how did you feel in yourself?
You know what? So it got to, and for me, I kind of did loads of research, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to forget about it. I did some updates for myself and stuff, but I just thought I'm not going to, not waste my days, but every day look. So I'd kind of
Yeah.
go once a week. I'd be like, anything coming? No.
Hmm.
And then it got to like 3 months, and I'll be honest, I was like, oh, okay, is it starting to come through? And I hadn't had anything at that point. And again, rejuvenate would be like, be patient. You've got to be
Yeah.
patient. And then all of a sudden, the 4 month mark appeared. It was about May time, and I was like, oh my, oh my gosh, I can feel like the stubble. And then from the fourth month up to the 8th month, it was just like an acceleration.
Yeah.
It really started like coming through every month. I'd be like, wow. And what I started noticing for a period of time, I did not that I wasn't open and honest about it, but I didn't
Mm.
tell people. I just wanted people to kind of. So it got to about the 8th month mark is when I could really start styling it in
Yeah.
front, and then I could start doing it. I was like,
Yeah.
and I went to my barber's, and my barber was like, I've been to the same barber. He was like, what? Hang on a minute. He was like,
Something's
and he
changed.
knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knew straight away.
Yeah.
So it got to and after the 8th month mark, up to the 12th month mark, that's where
Yeah.
you start. So 9, 10, 10, 11, 12, you
Mm.
really start noticing the density.
Yeah.
That's when the density starts taking over. And then after the 12-month mark, it's kind of, people say it still gets thicker
Then
up
you're
to the
normal. Yeah.
18-month mark, but I didn't notice that personally, but
Right.
definitely up to the 12-month mark. And then I went and had another one.
Yeah. So what happened with that? So you're into like a year and a half. You've had a very successful hair transplant, and then you had a second one.
So yeah, again, and you know what? I want to be clear with all your viewers in that it was pure vanity
Right.
from
Okay.
my part. If you're, and I think it's also, I mean, I'm a big fan of your channel, Robin, and what I love about your channel is you kind of tell people to rock it how they've got it, and I love that about your channel, and
Yeah.
that's one thing I want to be clear with. If someone has got a Jason Statham or Bruce Willis and it works for
Yeah.
them, let it work.
Yeah.
I'm not here to say you should have a hair
No.
transplant. I'm just saying, for me, I love my hair, and
Yeah.
I wanted a second procedure. So I kind of got back in contact with my clinic. I went in a year and a half after, and I just to kind of have a chat with the guys, and I said, do you think I could have a bit more density? And this is, for me, other clinics may be the same, but they went, well, it's not essential, but yeah, you would
Yeah.
get some, but we're not for it or against it. We could do it, and you would get a bit of density, but your hair still looks good. So I went home and had a bit of a think about it, and I was like, no, you know what? I want a bit more density added.
Yeah.
So I kind of booked up an appointment with Rejuvenate, and went in, and then I think they did maybe about 500 to 800 grafts.
Okay.
It was more like a density pack. So exactly the same as what I explained before, but they this time they kind of shaved the back again. They did the undercut for me, took the follicles out, but this time it was all about not creating a hairline. It was
Mm.
about placing
Okay.
the hairs in the right kind of area to give it that like kind of fuller
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
more kind of density. So that procedure was really quick. I think it was maybe 2 hours. Again, I recovered. They
Mm.
got me a cab, and then you kind of, I got to say, and maybe some of your viewers have maybe had a second procedure. The second procedure, you get to the 4th month and you're like, I can't see any new hairs, and it's because they're kind of hid with your new hairs.
Yes.
And
Okay.
it wasn't until I kind of got to maybe on my second transplant, maybe 6th or 8th month, that I really noticed. I didn't notice hairs, which they were there, but I noticed the density more. And I've got no hair fibers in or anything, which I did use after the second transplant. I did kind of use
just to kind of give it a boost.
Yeah, but for me, with my hair fibers, I could be wrong, but it was always less is more for me. I kind of only put a little bit in, and that was the second procedure, and then I did exactly the same. I think the hardest bit for me is I'm quite into fitness. You can't really work out a month. It's got to be a month because the straining could do something to the grafts, I think. Yeah.
And this is you now. So how long are we on now from the very first one?
The first one, about 3 years. And the second one was a year, January just gone.
I mean, it looks great. It looks really good. Well, I've certainly found this really very interesting. I'm sure everyone watching will have. What I'll do is I will get a link to sort of regulated hair clinics, also the one that you went to. I'll link it in the description, as well as sort of any other links and sort of tips and tricks. And also, if it's okay with you, maybe if anyone's got any questions, if you put them in the comments, I'll get them to you and see if we can get a few answers.
I'd be more than happy to do so. Yep, there it is at the front. I'm more than always happy to help, Robin. I love your channel.
So thank you very much. And thank you for coming on, and thank you for being so honest.
Thank you. No, thank you for having me. Great channel. Best on YouTube.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, Robin. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you very much for watching. I really enjoyed that. Phil is such a nice guy and is just so open and honest about the procedure he had, and also like really the success of it. I think his hair looks amazing. It's obvious that he's extremely confident with it, and I think like that is the key thing in this, that having a hair transplant or using products which give you a boost for your confidence is so key. And fine, there might be a tiny aspect of this whole vanity, but who does not want to look good? And if you can do it and you have the means to do it, then go wild and go for it. So get any sort of questions down there. I'll get them to Phil. Maybe if this sort of proves successful, then maybe we could even do a live Q&A with Phil. So let me know. But thank you again for watching. If you're still new to this, you're still wondering who I am, then hi, I'm Robin. This is Man for Himself. Please do press subscribe right now. The button is just on screen. There's also more video suggestions there, a link to, let's maybe put you on a hair loss there, and my Instagram, and the new Instagram account is up there too. But until my next new video, bye-bye.